We're here. We're live. Gauntlet Friday nights. It's your boy Denzel Sneezy, and we are live. And to my right is our guest. You know this, brother. Mr. Jacob Christner, a.k.a. the Pundit.
You were sneezy all week. Yeah, you were sneezy all week.
That's why I said sneezy. Yeah, okay, y'all. I had to take a couple of shows off that I normally do this week because I don't know if it was RSV or COVID ×3 or whatever, but I was all effed up all week, right? But I'm way better. I'm way better now, and I'm back. I don't sound like Kermit the Frog hit puberty no more. So with that being said, our guest to my right, Jacob Christner. You know, we've seen him on the Pundit has now moved over to the South Florida Tribune. So catch us on Thursday nights out that way, but not next Thursday because there's going to be a break, but there's going to be a test run of another segment of Top Rope Talk, and more on that in a little bit. Also to the bot, well, he's not even in the camera yet. I'll introduce him in a minute. He'll damn sure come on when we do the FC North preview. But to the bottom right is the hype train conductor himself, Detroit Dom. Oh, here he is. Your boy JJ Dynamite. He's in the house. I think he might have been sipping a little bit. I don't know. But
that was a diamond cutter you opened with?
That was a diamond cutter that I definitely opened.
Let me ask you this real quick before we get started.
Here's the deal.
Do you remember the time that DDP dressed up as La Parka?
Yes.
I would have been 4 margaritas in, but I spilled one of them, so I'm only 3 margaritas in.
Did you go refill? Where's the? I'm like, where's the?
Oh, it was at the little.
Where's the wonton soup cup container?
Before I got home. But this is a little bit of left. I'm going to just sip that a little bit. So y'all go ahead.
Okay. All right, then. I got you. Well, before we get started, just want to remind everyone that we are right now broadcasting live on Sideline Sports Network via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Also, shout out to our guy, JT James Tatum, broadcasting live on his page on his channel on YouTube, rather, Philly Jim. So hit the like and subscribe button to both Sideline Sports and on Philly Gyms, and stay tuned for more content. But without further ado, just want to get started with our mainstay, sports moron of the week. Shout out to our great producer Tariq. He's in the background, things below and behind the scenes. And what's it? Actually, kind of
Jacob, don't play with me today, okay?
So I didn't really have a sports moron. But those faces are classic. Didn't really have a sports moron quite this week. I'll probably pick it back off on y'all's. But I'm going to swing it to our guest. Who is your sports moron of the week, Mr. Christopher?
All right, what I'm going to go at is I'm going to go with sports moron of the lifetime beyond this, because let me explain. And what is that noise? Is this someone getting arrested?
Why you mute my mic? I didn't do anything.
I think it's Dom. I think it's coming from you, dude.
Obviously,
hang on. Hey,
obviously it's coming from Don. You beat him.
I was trying to see where it was coming from. All right, cool. All right, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is this is the sports moron. I'm going to call it the lifetime because it brought this up. I'll give the story. Right now in the NCAA, they are dealing with some gambling issues. Iowa State has a Quincy native, Jarrell Brock, along with Iowa State does, along with some Iowa players who got caught gambling. They got caught gambling, and in Jarrell's case, he got caught. I believe that was his girlfriend's or his friend's account, using her account, which is also against a tax deal if he wins because he's using hers. So there's having issues. Now, this is where I have the problem with. It's the fact that now we have NIL, and the kids that are not getting NIL money, they're going to be doing other things to try to get the money. At what we read, he bet like about $12,000 as a college student with no NIL money. So it's obvious he's been winning some. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the biggest thing about this is where I call it the sports morons of the lifetime. Everything NCAA did, from like when Rick Majerus wanted to help a kid whose dad died and go take him out to eat, and he got sanctioned for it.
We talked about that on Pundit.
Yeah, and we did that, and then we talked about Landon Cox from Chicago King, who would get himself in trouble constantly because he would be taking kids to school and buying them chicken and keeping them from getting hungry in their poor areas, and they'd get in trouble with that. Yep. And doing all that stuff. All of this happened. NIL happened because little things like that, you kept getting them in trouble for. You kept making it controversial. So then you have NIL. But now the kids that don't have NIL are going to gamble. And the football is in football, whether it's college or it's pros, are in the gambling world now. So it is a hypocrisy. Yep. So all you had to do is leave coaches and kids alone. If they wanted to make a little extra $500, if they wanted to treat a kid, that's not serious. All you had to do is leave them alone, and none of this would have mattered. But instead, it all spread. It all went completely crazy. It's because you all had to take this a little too seriously. So that is the sports moron of the lifetime.
Well, real quick before we swing to Dom, what it basically boils down to is greed. Because I don't think that these guys have a necessary fear that these players making a little money for themselves are going to surpass them per se. And, you know, it's more of we want all the money and y'all have none. That's just like, okay, if I'm done eating, right, and I got like a half a sub sandwich left. Yeah. Okay, now I'm not gonna eat it later. I'm full. I'm good for the night, you know. But Dom comes along and he's starving, you know. And it's like, wouldn't it be like an asshole move if it's like, no, I don't want you to have it. All right.
Well, no.
But you're not gonna eat it. But it's my sandwich. You know?
Look at the figure. You already do that. You already do say keep the sandwich away from him.
And to be fair, Dom. All right, just kidding. But y'all see what I'm talking about. Dom, go ahead, man. Sports moron.
Well, apparently now I have two. Now that I read up on the whole conversation, I was going to say my original sports moron was Odell Beckham for his boasting of, what did he say? I would have had 15 passes, would have caught 15 passes for 250 yards. Then he got into it with Tyler Boyd, who then responded with coulda, shoulda, woulda. And then Odell fired back with, well, I got the ring that you coulda, shoulda, woulda.
You ain't got crap, Tyler Boyd.
Wow.
He's better than any receiver on your roster, sir, but we'll get to that later.
No, he's not.
He might be getting up pretty shortly. JJ, you got a sports moron?
My sports moron is the NCAA because of this guy who was trying to transfer to Florida State University. And I understand you have rules and I understand you have regulations, but I kind of could look at things a lot of times from what I look at my own job. In banking, there are certain things that you have to follow. There's certain rules, but there are special exceptions that can be made if the case presented fits the criteria that you'd be like, you know what, it's okay. For them to deny this guy transfer because his mother is ailing, and then to find out there's other stories of guys being denied because of whatever reason, I'm thinking like this is a real problem, and you guys are moronic because at the end of the day, God forbid, if something happens to that boy's mother, you guys are going to have on your head how you guys denied this guy a chance to be close to his parents, because at the end of the day, nothing trumps your family. Nothing trumps your family. And all of them people that are denying him have families. And I'm pretty sure if he presented his case, it would have been able to be like, you know what? We have this rule in place, but there's a reason why we have exceptions, because sometimes everybody's situation does not match what our criteria states that you have to follow. So I think NCAA is kind of moronic with that, because at the end of the day, this dude is literally saying like, yo, I want to be home with my mom. You only get one mother. You only
Florida
get one.
State is about to get left out in the cold.
Like, you only get one mom. You only get one. And we don't know. And like, it's just crazy to me that you will sit here and deny his transfer all because you don't sit like, you act like you don't, it seems like you don't have a heart. God forbid your mother has a situation, because if your mother has a situation, you would want to be there with her, no questions asked.
True.
So I think the NCAA is my moron of the week because of how they did that guy that's trying to transfer to Florida crappy university, FSU, whatever you want to call them.
It's okay. In a year or two, the NCAA won't matter.
It's crazy how the NCAA makes two sports morons for two different reasons. At this point, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at the inconsideration. I'm not surprised at the greed. I'm not surprised at the outright buffoonery. I have said for the last 10 plus years, way back to my days in the military, that these kids should be getting compensated for something. But all I heard was, oh, well, they're getting a free room and board and such and such. And you all have heard my.
The free room is about this big.
Exactly. Oh, they're getting free food. Well, I'm not saying that it's not
Free
decent
food
food. Like I've eaten on campus at a cafeteria at Chow Hall. It's not bad.
Can we officially call the NCAA the NFL G League now?
I've called it that for the last 5-6 years, especially the SEC.
What have I been saying for 2 years? Especially now that NIL's here. All those teams just joined the Big Ten. The SEC's got everyone they want. Everything else is disappearing and joining up.
It's cannon fodder.
Somebody like Florida State's going to get left out in the cold.
Probably. Or they might
try. How many teams are in the Pac-12 now?
4? They might try to go independent like Notre Dame, but you see what that's doing to Notre Dame.
I think
Notre Dame is only independent in football. They're part of the Big Ten / whatever.
I honestly think if USC makes do on the hype that they have, the Pac-12 has a chance to regain what it once was, because
USC and UCLA are coming to the Big Ten.
The NCAA has been dying for USC to get back to its relevancy, because let's be honest, during the BCS era, USC carried it. They carried the entire BCS era through Pete Carroll, and I think if they can prove on all the hype that's coming in, we might start seeing Pac-12 come into a conference of prominence, especially if, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe Colorado's still in the Pac-12.
And then we got to move on to our next topic.
I have one thing to say with this. Part of the big B1G also, and I'm not going to call it Big 10 because it's like Big 20 now. I'm going to call it B1G. Part of their issue also is they've had so many teams with horrible offenses. This is an offensive world in the offensive world in football now. You've got this league with 8 teams with a horrible offense.
You don't like Jim Harbaugh's 1945 offense?
Huh?
You don't like Jim Harbaugh's 1945 offense?
Well, no, I love Kirk Ferentz's awesome offenses. His 7-5 score, 5-3 scores.
Oh, good Lord!
I'll say this, and then we gotta move on. JJ, I hear you about USC and like your statement about them carrying the Pac-12, but I think your boys had a lot to do with it also, especially considering that the 0-1 squad is literally considered a top 5 team of all time.
Respect, you're very right, but the one thing that kind of gives me pause is that after 0-2, we had maybe 1 or 2 years with Randy Shannon, and then Randy Shannon's situation happened, and it's like there's a stain on our dominance in Miami back in the day, even though I do agree with you coming from, because Miami was a prominent figure during the BCS era, especially in the early.
Yeah. Well, move on to our next topic here, and that is our. Let's see if we can get it going here. Our AFC North preview. Will a fully healthy Ravens squad take back the division?
Absolutely.
So we're seeing the team. We're seeing the team that you'll get your turn, JJ. We have seen. Let's see. The Lamar Jackson got his money. Odell Beckham's getting signed. Gus Edwards is healthy. J.K. Dobbins is healthy. You've heard us talk about this the last episode, but we're gonna amp it up times 2. But there's 3 other teams in the division, y'all. Okay, still got the Bengals. Unknown how Pittsburgh's gonna be. We see what Cleveland is. I'm gonna start off with our guest, Jacob. Who do you think is going to take the division? The Ravens or otherwise?
Asking JJ if the Ravens are going to win the division is like asking JB if the Garrett Cole's going to make a difference with the Yankees. We already know this, but we already know the answer. But biggest thing about it is I still think Bengals are too strong. I think the Ravens will improve. I do think the Ravens will improve. I think it's within game.
Boy, I can side eye you right now.
You can what?
Side eye. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh no! I thought he was going to try to give me the rock with eyebrow. But no. But the thing is, at the same time, got to ask this question. Even though Greg Roman had like 4 plays from Tecmo Super Bowl, even though he had those, it still was scoring a pile of points. What will the offense be with? It was just not very good in the playoffs. But what will the offense be like with a new offensive coordinator? That's to ask the question. We'll fully see. And the thing is, the Bengals. Here's the thing. It's like the biggest deal about it is we don't know right now while Burrow's there how long he's going to be and how their offense will be from that. We don't know. But at the same time, if there's going to be a late run and if there's any more injuries, the Bengals can make a late run and take the division. It's like, personally to me, I've got Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and Browns, usual.
Okay. All right, swinging on over to Dom. Dom, what do you think? Who you got taking the North? Who you got finishing where?
Probably overall, top to bottom, the best division in the NFL. I see first from last separated by 3 games. I've got the Bengals 11 wins, Ravens 10, and then Browns and Steelers, and I think it's interchangeable. One of them will win 9 games, one will win 8. You might see 3 playoff teams from that division. I refuse to believe that the Deshaun Watson that we knew the last time he was healthy for your Texans, I refuse to believe that man just no longer exists. That is a outstanding offensive line, top 5 in the league. Their defense is also really good. They have arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, Myles Garrett. They have the best running back in the NFL, Nick Chubb. Amari Cooper is no slouch. And it's the Steelers. Like, the only reason they won't finish 500 or better, maybe, is because there's an odd number of games. I don't really know about Kenny Pickett, but I do like the Pickett to Pickens connection.
I do too.
I think they
already scored tonight.
Right. They went through their lumps for those 2 seasons of having a bad O-line, which Pittsburgh never has. But, that's the most consistently well-run franchise in the NFL. So they won't be bad. I think this division is going to beat up on each other. But yeah, I've got the Bengals on top. Assuming, what are they saying for Burrow now? He's going to miss. They still don't know, right?
I think it's unknown. Yeah.
I don't know who their backup is, nor who they play the first couple weeks, but they'll be okay. And I think worst case scenario, maybe they tie in wins with the Ravens and get the tiebreaker.
Okay. All right, JJ, we already know you're picking the Ravens. Tell us why.
Let's think about it. A fully strength Ravens team has beat a fully strength Bengals team every single time. Every time the Bengals have won, there has been key players. And let's not forget, the Bengals were behind us every single year when Lamar has played. So if Lamar plays the whole season, which I firmly believe that is possible, there's no way I can sit here and say that they're not better than the Bengals. We had it last year, that Sunday Night Football game. The Bengals full strength, the Ravens full strength. They lost. Then at the end of the season, what happened? Lamar went down. They took the lead in the division. They have not been able to prove to me that when Lamar is healthy and this team is playing, that they are the better team. They are not
on the table.
They are not in my opinion.
JJ, what's the best ability in football?
That is true, but at the end of the day,
ability.
The way I see it is I'm talking, we can't sit there and use hindsight for foresight. The reason why I'm saying that is at the end of the day, what I see is a talented Ravens squad and a talented Bengals squad. It's not going to be easy, but trust and believe. If you gave us every single time them against against Cincinnati, the Ravens have always been in the game. We were one play away from winning that playoff game. One. Without
a backup quarterback. That's true.
without our star quarterback, one, and our star running back who's holding out, did not get the ball at all in the red zone. There's no one that can convince me, and I want all the smoke with Joe Burrow. I want all the smoke with Jamar Chase. I want all the smoke with Dat Boi Tariq Higgins, because every time we're as healthy as they are, we've beaten them. There's no one in this world that I will sit there and say, yes, we will sit there and be succumb to the Bengals. Are the Bengals good? Absolutely. Are the Bengals great? Yes. Do I respect Cleveland with Deshaun Watson because he was one of my favorite quarterbacks? He still is? Absolutely. Do I respect Pittsburgh? You have to respect Pittsburgh, because at the end of the day, they may not have the most talented roster, but every time you play them, you're getting their best. You're absolutely getting their best. Yeah. But no, top to bottom, I don't care how much you want to highlight this team. When I've seen them face each other, and I remember dissecting these games, Baltimore has been ahead every single time until an injury has happened, and then the list of the division has gone out the way. Now, again, we have a Lamar Jackson that does not have to worry about his contract, does not have to worry about this team loves him, has better weapons, and they have their locked up their defensive juggernaut and Roquan Smith and everybody else. Yes, no, the Ravens will win this division, and you can mark it down on what, August 8th, August 11th, whatever you want to call it. The Baltimore Ravens will beat the Cincinnati Bengals for this division and win the AFC North. Point blank, period.
Pound the table, JJ has banged the gavel.
Put your table into the cement.
It's already there.
No, I can see it.
It's already there. Well, on to our next topic, and that is our Bleacher Report fan vote I found earlier. So these were the fans' votes, projected votes for, or votes for projected 2023 NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Other got 10.3%. Quarterback Anthony Richardson, you probably can't believe he was even mentioned. He was 20.7%. Bryce Young at 24.2%. Running back Bijan Robinson got 44.8%. So, starting off with our guest, Jacob, do you agree with this? Who would you switch around? And if other, who would you put in there?
I'm going to switch up Anthony. The only way I'm going to switch up Anthony Richardson is the third string, where he belongs. This is going to be a bad year. The 53%. A 53% completion percentage in a slower league like college football with Florida, with that absolutely simplistic offense. And then for whatever reason, they bring the 6'5", 244 pounds, and they make it within the press. They make it a big press packet right there, a press junket, and how big he is. Kind of like Cam. They wanted the next Cam. The thing is, we are doing this over and over with these players and playing them too early. They did it with Justin Fields. We're going into a third year now, and if he fails this time around, next year letting him go would let no money off the cap. None. They did this. No. They do this too much. They put these guys out there too early when they're not ready. And then we saw C.J. Stroud yesterday, and I think he's going to be better than Richardson. It doesn't matter what the thing by itself. These are the things I'm just talking. And Bryce Young, he's going to have his tough time, but he's going to be better than Richardson. My whole thing here is Richardson. It's why is he here? It's like, is Indianapolis that desperate? Is Irsay that desperate? Just because he picked up absolutely positively, three straight outdated, old, very, very, very old quarterbacks, and they failed with all three.
To be fair, Matt Ryan looked 35 his junior year of college, but go ahead.
Yeah, no question. But what I'm saying though, they all looked old. They were all outdated. They were all everything. They're all basically the statues. You might as well have picked up Nick Foles, which he basically did. And
Foles won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
didn't the Colts sign Dalton?
No, it's like that was that's how bad Dalton is when the Colts won't get you. But that's the thing is this whole Anthony Richardson thing is nothing but a press junket. They want something. They want another Cam. They want something in there. They want the rock star the way they did it with Justin. It's going to keep. They don't keep doing this. They're going to keep rooting these kids. Let them develop.
Agreed. And swinging on down to Dom. What about you? What do you think of this vote? And if nobody on this list, who would you put on there?
Okay, so I went through the list of who I assumed it would be. Bijan is the odds-on favorite. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know that was necessarily a great pick for Atlanta where they took him. To me, it's a huge vote of no confidence for Desmond Ridder, and I'm sure I've said this on previous shows. Apparently, the Falcons just plan on having that 5 pass attempt Mac Jones game every week. They
You know
already
what?
have.
I think I know what my bad. And I think I know where you're getting at. They questioned the Bijan Robinson pickup because didn't Tyler Algiers rush for 1,000 last year?
Yeah, and Patterson had almost 800.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's kind of strange in my mind that I mean, obviously, Bijan looks like the most highly touted, the most complete running back to come out of the draft
He is.
probably since Saquon.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised that he's out. I went and looked at the Vegas odds. Bijan's plus 300. Bryce Young is 400, and then you've got Richardson, Stroud, and Jahmyr Gibbs at 900. After that, it's all those receivers, and then you get down to I don't even know who.
Oh shoot, he disappeared.
He went into the ice.
Oh, he'll be back. Well, JJ, if you're there, it's on you.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So, what do you think? You agree with this list?
Ooh.
Who would you switch around, or who would you put on there?
Oh man, sidebar, but I'll tell you later. Honestly, I actually think Bryce Young has a chance to really be the rookie of the year because I don't think Carolina's offense is that bad. Do they have questions at wide receiver? Yeah, they do. But one thing I've realized about anything about football, if your run game is solid, everything else seems to be at least average or potentially better in certain circumstances. And they have a very strong run game with Royce Freeman and their other backfield. So I really think with a rookie quarterback who has a really good arm and Bryce Young, I think he has a chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like Carolina, if they can protect him, which is that left tackle spot is important, as well as the blitz pickup from the running backs. I actually think Bryce Young is going to be there. But I will say thing about Anthony Richardson. I'm sorry. With the way this game has been evolving, there's no way you can convince me a guy like him does not have the best chance to succeed. Because if you've noticed over the years, and yes, I will take ownership of it, since my quarterback has come into the league, guys have been getting progressively better. Jalen Hurts, progressively better. Justin Fields finished off strong. Josh Allen, mobile quarterback. Joe Burrow in the pocket, but he likes to get around. Patrick Mahomes likes to do the thing. So, I'll take that from Lamar and give it to Patrick Mahomes. Guys that have the ability to move around in the pocket and be super athletic, who have the willingness to try to perfect themselves as a passer, there's no reason you can sit there and put out and say they don't have a chance to succeed, because they do. And I do believe Anthony Richardson has a great chance to succeed. I just think the only thing that bothers me and scares me is this running back situation with them. If Jonathan Taylor is not there, I do think he'll have a year. And unfortunately, in today's world, which is a microwave society, they'll want to get rid of him because he won't have the best year. But if Jonathan Taylor gets signed and he stays and they run that offense through him, I think Anthony Richardson is going to have a much more great year for him as a rookie standard. But I still think Bryce Young is going to be rookie of the year. But I don't have any issues with Anthony Richardson because the game is evolving to quarterbacks of his type.
Okay. And Dom, before I don't know if you lost power or anything, but you wanted to finish up?
I don't know. Yeah, Richardson's not winning it. No way in hell.
All right. Well, we're at the halfway point of the show to go ahead and remind everybody to hit the like and subscribe button if you are watching us from YouTube, because it's not just the Gauntlet, it's the Sideline Sports. We also have Top Rope Talk on Mondays. We also have Confidential on Wednesdays, Sideline Sports Show on Tuesday nights, Basketball Sundays, Pushing Them Back with Kobe White, First to 56, you name it, we got it. All right here on Sideline Sports Network. All right, so next topic, one of our preseason games. Last night, Texans defeat the Patriots 20-9. Stroud, he only played 2 drives. He was 2 of 4 for 13 yards and an interception. Meanwhile, Tank Dell had quite possibly what might be the play of the weekend with an unreal touchdown grab. That was what was Antonio Freeman? Did he catch that? Remember that with Green Bay? He had one of those touchdowns. 5 receptions, 600 yards, touchdown. New look defense looked pretty sharp under new head coach DeMeco Ryans. But the talk on Bleacher Report was they were shocked at Stroud's outing. Mind you, inclement weather. He found out 3 to 5 days ago he was going to start. And again, it's his first outing. So, Jacob, your thoughts on this whole thing?
As far as Dell goes, that was an amazing catch because that wasn't a wonderful throw. So even with Stroud's bad game, I'm not going to exactly say I want to see Davis start this season because he didn't look any good either, to be very, very truthful. But the thing is, the one interception, I just have to say this, and this thing you have to learn in camp. That one interception, a pump fake to the same area would have been a bad idea with last year's Bears. That would have been a bad idea for them. You're doing this with Belichick's defense.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's the big thing is you have to learn this kind of stuff in camp, situational and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, the touchdown by Davis Mills, it's like I said, that was an amazing catch. Amazing catch. It wasn't even that good. I'm just going to keep. I don't want to see Stroud or Richardson or any of these guys start this year. I never do, but maybe I'm old school like that. But in that kind of case, but they're going to. So if that's the case, Davis Mills is no better. So it was like, and the Patriots lose like the Patriots lose in every preseason. I think they've lost like 20 straight at one time. They basically run everybody like 3 this series and just keep going back and forth. That's all they do. That's all he does. He wants to see everything.
Yeah, just want to see everything. That's all. Dom, what about you? Overreaction for Stroud, or what are your thoughts?
Well, for one, it looks like he's going to be running for his life all season, much like Justin Fields has been doing for 2 weeks. For 2, he's an Ohio State quarterback, so the bar is you ruin young quarterbacks, because when you get drafted high, it's to a bad team that probably has a bad defense. So you're going to have to go out there and try to score a ton of points because your defense is giving up a bunch. And typically they have, bad offensive lines and usually not a good run game, because even if you do, the defense is so bad, you have to abandon the run. Like, I understand the idea of, like, we drafted him in the first round in the top 5.
Yeah.
Davis Mills, by the way, has better career numbers
the
than Justin Fields.
To Musk versus Zuckerberg.
Yeah. But you know what? But here's a question.
This is
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dom.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just saying, this is how you ruin young quarterbacks, because unless your name is Andrew Luck, you're not coming in and having that sort of success right away.
Yeah, but you know what?
Like, there's a reason these teams are picking in the top 5. They're not good.
Yeah, But how about this? So the Texans QB3 currently is Case Keenum in his now 3rd stint in Houston. How do you feel about him starting the season while Stroud develops? Keenum's actually been to the playoffs. In fact, he's actually been to an NFC Championship game.
I mean, it's kind of a toss-up between Mills and Keenum. Obviously, neither one is your future. They drafted Stroud, so clearly they've given up on Davis Mills. But the other thing is, like, that division is not very good. So I don't know. Like, let's say you're the GM. That's your team. What would you do personally?
You know what? I mean, I'll look at the rest of the preseason for Stroud. I'd really like him to develop. Keenum, I think, can get you 7 to 8 wins.
Yeah, but here's the thing I'm going to bring this up with. He got the playoff win. He got to that playoff win and everything and what they did, the miracle.
Yeah.
He got all that. Around the same time, and I'm just saying this, the world changes fast in the NFL. At the same time, Mitch Trubisky was third in QBR. Same time. He was third, and now he's back up for Pittsburgh. It's
another guy with better career numbers than Fields.
Right. Oh, I know. Trust me. I know this. It's like, but I'm saying the world changes. The world changes like that. And it's like Keenum has kind of sat more often than not. Can he do it again? See, everybody has had that whole promise. He did this. Foles won a Super Bowl, and he's looked miserable in the other times he's gone. So the world changes, and you can't be a statue in the pocket anymore. It's the thing.
Yeah.
You know what Nick Foles is? He's Ryan Fitzpatrick with a Super Bowl win.
And no beard.
I called him Hostetler. But I want to round this out with JJ. Your thoughts about this whole thing? Overreaction with Stroud, or what do you think?
It's got to be the most ridiculous assessment I've ever heard in my life. The dude threw 4 freaking passes.
Thank you.
How much can you freaking assess from 4 passes? Unless, again, this is all relative. If you don't believe in CJ Stroud, you're going to dissect these 4 passes negatively. If you're a fan of CJ Stroud, you're going to dissect these 4 passes positively. If you don't give a crack about either situation because you just love football, you're going to see it as I see it. It's 4 passes. 4 freaking passes. So at the end of the day, I think people's perception often weighs heavy on these quarterback assessments because you have to think, am I looking at the 4 passes or am I looking at, does he identify the defensive switch over there? Does he slide protection the way he needs to? Does he go down when he's about to get sacked? Does he make an errant throw? Does he sit here, see a gap, and decide to use his athleticism in his legs and make a run? If you look at it in that way, I don't see how you can sit here and do any type of assessment on this guy's performance off of 4 goddamn passes. I mean, goddamn, you can't even really assess anything off of 4 passes.
Yeah, but CJ, that was a terrible interception. He did not look at anything. He double pumped in his own on the old side that he threw. But we are early, and Davis Mills was no better.
We are very familiar, and I think this goes into the society that we live in. We are very familiar with quarterbacks struggling in their first year. However, the society we live in, we highlight the great ones. We highlight the great quarterbacks who come in their rookie year and do great. We have to remember those guys, if you look at the total amount of quarterbacks that our rookies have started, they're a very small percentage. So I expect a rookie quarterback to have interceptions like bad ones like that. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to come into a new job and know what the heck you're supposed to do. You're not going to get promoted to a new position and know exactly what you're supposed to do. You're going to make mistakes. But it's all on how he responds for the mistake. What do you see from that interception that you could make sure you correct so it doesn't happen again? And I'll even reference Justin Fields on this. The first 7 or 8 games, they were not playing the offense that was catered to him. He looked bad. When they said, oh, let me start continuing to develop this team into what I need, he looked much better as the end of the season. If Houston continues to not think like this microwave society and say, you know what? I see what you have to improve on. Let us develop this team in a way that it makes you the best you. I don't see how you can sit there and say this guy doesn't have a chance unless you've already thought from the onset, which means you have a bias against him that you never thought he was going to be better. I think it's okay to mention that you are biased against somebody because people have biases. And I just see that with this assessment of this guy, CJ Stroud. I'm like, God dang, it's 4 passes. I mean, that's like me, the equivalent of me shooting 2 basketball shots and you sitting there saying I'm horrible because I missed both of them. Literally, it doesn't make sense to me.
And not to mention, as I stated, that he found out 5 days ago, maybe even less than that he was going to start the preseason game. And my whole thing, and my whole thing was this, because I looked at it on Bleach Report all day long, and everybody had their comments and everything and stuff. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, now see, where you had the commentary about it just being 4 passes, I was like, it was only 2 drives. You know, it was only 2 drives, so you can't really sit there and say, oh, well, he's going to be trash or anything like that. When he played 2 drives in inclement weather, you know what I mean? Like, he's got to get adjusted. You got to give him time. You hear me talk about it all the time, especially you, Jacob. You know, the quarterback draft class of 2012. Not everybody's going to be Luck, Russell, or RG3 hitting the ground running. And ironically, who's the last man standing out of all 3 of them? Russell Wilson.
And here's the thing. What I brought up with Russell Wilson, like I said, we're just going into this point. What I brought up with Russell Wilson is just the fact that how many times did I say last year he had the world's worst coach to begin with? Then he started looking better when they got an interim coach. Now he's got an offensive coach. You want? He can't carry a team like he used to, but he's going to be effective now. That's just the. But I'm telling you, I was the one saying that in the first place. But you remember the fish ADD mindset and the microwave, like JJ says. You say all that kind of stuff. They went after Russell Wilson just because of politics. They got that he's such a nice guy. That it's also that they took Future's wife. They did all that kind of crap, so they wanted him to fail. Stupid. But it's like he's gonna look more effective now. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's agreed.
It's just funny to me. I'm sorry. It's just funny to me because if it's a rookie you like, you would sit there and defend him in the opposite direction. So if you logically can do that for that guy, you logically can understand why somebody like me will call you hypocritical for a guy that's in the exact same situation.
Right.
The exact same. There's nothing different between 2 rookies that you like and you don't like, but you choose because you like someone to give them a different chance or pass as opposed to somebody you don't like. But what I want people to understand is just own it, Lisa. Own it. Lisa Rinna, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills voice. Comment on that one. Let's go.
All right.
Also, the Texans' receiving core is atrocious.
I don't know a receiver on their squad. No shade.
Nico Collins.
Tank Dell. John,
you do have a good running back.
Who's back now from recovering from leukemia. So Michi is back, and then we also got Dalton Schultz. But yeah, we definitely need weapons. But
wouldn't it be cool if his name was Sherman Dell?
Yeah, that would be funny. It would. Now, our point before we go to the next topic, point being, it's an overreaction. It was overreaction Friday as usual, and I would say this had this have been Anthony Richardson out there. Like, listen, it's one game, preseason. You know what I mean? So you got to give him. You got to give it time.
If he went 4 for 4, 75 yards and 2 touchdowns, the same people that are sitting there saying he's tripping and not should have been picked in the first round will sit there and say it's just preseason. Mm-hmm. Let's be real. Come on,
you're right.
But wait, you're talking about Stroud. I thought you meant Richardson. Anthony Richardson will never complete 4 consecutive passes.
Yeah, but and if they are, they're 2 yards.
Lies and denies and cries. Okay.
We will definitely revisit this.
Kimberly Richards' voice. Thank you.
We will definitely revisit this. All right, on our next topic, real quick to almost round the show up. Former Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, stemming from he pled guilty to fatal DUI crash that killed a 23-year-old woman and her dog out there in Las Vegas. Oh man, you talk about one of the biggest wastes of talent in the last 10 to 15 years, probably easily considering where he came from. You know, his talent, his abilities, and such. He had it, and then just like that, it's done. It's gone. This is like Dante Stallworth, like all over again, you know. But swinging over to Jacob, your thoughts about this whole thing?
Talked about this last night. I'm just going to keep asking this, you know. I mean, I want to know first off, I want to know what his mental state is. What kind of meds is he taking, for anxiety, for any of this kind of stuff? That's the first thing I'm asking because there's a reason for this. What is the desire and the love for so many of these players to say to themselves, I want to get saturated the way that they do? He had a 0.13 or something blood alcohol.
No, it was higher than that.
It was what?
It was
higher than that.
It was double the legal limit.
Okay, that 0.8. Yeah, but the thing is, what is the desire here to go get saturated like that over? And it's obvious this is not the first time. And he's getting into the thing. That's number one question. Because personally, I'm not a drinker, so I don't get it. That's first. Second, though, the first question was about the meds. There's that thing. And then number 3, have you ever heard of Uber? Is your ego that arrogant that you don't want to go take an Uber at night? You want to drive 160 miles an hour? Did the alcohol and the drugs you are obviously on, the prescription drugs you're obviously on, mixed together and you got that crazy? All I know is some people are dead. And I just want to know, and I want to know if we're going to find out there's anxieties with this guy. Because he's 24 years old, he's making millions. Does he feel too much pressure? Does he feel it at home? Does he feel with his friends? Does he have to give up money all the time? Does he give up every one of his checks every 2 weeks? I got to ask these questions because this is it was unreal. It's unreal. Now his career's over. People's lives are gone. All because he wanted to go get drunk and then go drive when Uber exists.
And he smashed into that vehicle. I think they said 140 miles per hour or something like that.
How did he not die?
Yeah, that was. I was like surprised that he made it. And I don't know, but Dom, real quick, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Just stupid, careless. Why would you're amongst the 2% of people that played high school football that made it to the pros? You're making millions of dollars. Like Jacob said, get an Uber, or like I've always said, it's different than winning the lottery. But if I got to the NFL, I like to drink. You know what I would do? Forget an Uber. I would buy a Bentley and have a chauffeur. You can get as hammered as you want because the guy driving is sober. And I looked into this the other day. I don't know what he originally got charged with, what he pled it down to, because it should have either been vehicular manslaughter or negligent homicide. The fact that he's only doing 3 to 10 years, and it'll be more like 3. If it was me or you, or Jacob or JJ, we'd get the book thrown at us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like just disgraceful.
There was 1 count of driving while impaired, resulting in death, and 1 count of vehicular manslaughter. That was the plea deal. So real quick, JJ, your thoughts on this?
I just got one question for anybody. In your entire life, have you ever driven drunk? And it would have been the only difference between you and Henry Ruggs is you never hit nobody. He did.
I've never even been drunk.
But my thing is, the difference is everybody judging him. I see both sides. I see why you judge him, but I also see why people defend him, because everybody in their life, majority of the people in their life have done the same thing he has, but want to kind of come off and sit there and say and be very critical of him. You got away with yours. He unfortunately did not. And so at the end of the day, I look at it, it's like, look, this is what they gave him. Could have been more? Absolutely. It could have been less? Maybe not. Is this what it is? It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, despite no matter what people want to believe or how they feel, the guilt of somebody to carry that with him for the rest of his life would be in their eyes as definitely detrimental. But at the end of the day, when people want to say, but it doesn't supersede those people not living their lives anymore, how many other people are just like that? How many other hit runs have just happened and they're just like that? Matter of fact, in D.C., guy on 4th of July and his wife lost his life because of a hit and run. And they still haven't found the person. So at the end of the day, it's not as if what is happening with this guy is out of the ordinary, which is why I'm not surprised that he got 3 to 10 years. I think it's human nature to believe that somebody, despite how egregious as it is, how heinous as it is, of whatever crime they commit, people still believe in second chances. Because if they didn't, why do rapists have a chance to get out, potentially? Why do murderers sometimes have a chance to get out, potentially? If what they did was considered wrong for the rest of their life and you never thought they were ever going to heal better again, they would have been in there. So we have to see, you just have to live with it. It is what it is. He got 3 to 10 years. Is it bad? Great, whatever. But in my opinion, because I can honestly see both sides of the equation, I'm just like, you know what? There you go. He got 3 to 10 years.
Fair enough.
Like I wanted to say real fast, and before we go into the thing, I wanted to say this, JJ. Any of you ever seen the show The Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember? You know that one girl that's in that Chicago apartment? Like it's like 3rd episode, 1st season, by the way. She's in that apartment. And stuff like that, right near the Tran. Yeah. The very first part of the thing is like the 3rd episode. They get up. You see, he opened the medicine cabinet, and there's about 2 years worth of prescriptions right there. She takes a couple of pills. It's like, then brush your teeth, be done with it. That's a lot of people's lives. I would love to see what's in Henry Ruggs's his medicine cabinet, because medicine is pretty normalized right now. And then he's drinking. You got to wonder how inebriated he was. It's more than the liquid.
Than the liquid,
Because they've advertised drugs like you need to do it with like you're brushing your teeth. So it's like, okay, does he have anxiety drugs? Does he have all this stuff? These are the things to ask. And the billions of dollars doesn't take away anxiety. It makes it worse.
It does. All right, we got to push through these next 2 topics, guys. We have 8 minutes left. So real quick, Lions signed quarterback Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year, $5 million deal, $2.5 million guaranteed. Your thoughts on this, Jacob? Go.
Good shot. I mean, I know what Dom just said. Good one. It's like it's a good backup. Nate Sutfield wasn't going to be it, and plus the fact they've got runners. They've got a run game. I'm not going to say that you're going to have Teddy Bridgewater to get piles of points with a really top-notch quarterback, but with a really solid overall team, not a bad idea. And then they get points, and then as I said, he'll get this. If he would, let's just say that Goff went down with the knee game 1, and you have that 24-12. I'm saying that he's a kind of a 24-12 guy. They have a possibility of winning a division. Whatever. Who knows the thing? It's like it's a well coached and a lot better roster. So it's not he kind of finishes up when you have him as a backup.
Okay. All right, real quick, Dom, your thoughts on this? It's your team.
Long overdue. I've been calling for this for the last season and a half, really 5. When we still had Stafford, I wanted us to trade him and go get Bridgewater. And like Jacob said, with a run game, Bridgewater's 2nd year in the league, mostly on the strength of Adrian Peterson. He went 11-5. He's got an over 500 record as a quarterback. And yeah, he's one of the probably 5 best backups in the league, and we needed a better one, so we finally went and got him.
Okay, there you go. All right, and then real quick, JJ, your thoughts on this? Real quick, we got one more topic.
Oh, I have no thoughts. Go on.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, on to our final topic, our non-sports topic, and this was inspired by last week because we, got so giddy about the PlayStation 2, which is personally my favorite system of all time, and that is, what is your favorite, the GOAT PlayStation 2 game?
What do you have?
Def Jam, Fight for New York. It was the most played. It was the most played. You talk about I ran through it. That's one of the games where I'll run through it, and then right after I beat Snoop Dogg at the end, start again, create a new character.
Yeah. That's why I asked you, because I had that idea. I love that game. Loved it. And I beat it like you did. Only I didn't start over again. That's not my style to go get to the thing. But that was an awesome game. That's why I asked you, because I had an idea.
And the storyline was awesome too. The storyline was so great because I don't know if you've ever played the first Def Jam Vendetta, but it was who the heel, the bad crew was in the last one is actually the good guys now. because this whole slew of, and then like there was more women in the game. Like it was awesome. The environment just.
Here's the thing: they went Terminator. So who was bad guy in the first went to the second. That's what they did.
Yep, exactly. Well, pass it on to you. Which one was yours, or was it that one?
That I wanted to ask if that was mine, and I wanted to ask you because I knew I had an idea it was yours.
Okay, then I got you. Any other reasons why you think it's the best one?
Oh, it was the one that got me addicted. I don't get addicted to video games.
Oh wow!
I don't get addicted to video games. It's like I played 2.5 hours or something like as a kid or whatever. But I'm like, the only other one I really ever got addicted to was trying to beat this one area in Battletoads, like on the Sega. But I mean, I don't get it. So when I wanted to keep playing
Battletoads, I just heard.
Huh?
I said Battletoads. I just heard.
I know, yeah. But as I said, that's the only other game where I just kept going over and over. But I mean, normally I play about 2.5 hours, get a little bored and stuff. But that game was just, I don't know if it was the graphics, I don't know if it was everything. There's just something oomph to it.
And and I can recall Fat Joe was ridiculously hard to beat. It took me like 20 times because it seemed like the more you attacked him, the stronger he got. Well, and like his style was pro wrestling, so all he had to do was like slam you twice, and he already was on finisher.
Oh, no kidding! But here's the thing, also. That reminded me of Andre the Giant in his later years when he couldn't move anymore. I always said they always made Andre like that, the video game Fat Joe type. Where you just keep hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and he just kind of stumbles back, and then he chops you, and then you lose 3/4 of your bar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he was. But I mean, Fat Joe was the Mike Tyson of Punch-Out.
Yeah, pretty much. JJ, I know this is your system too, man. What do you think is the greatest PlayStation 2 game of all time?
So I have to break it down in two because I played both of them like religiously. Madden 02 and Mortal Kombat Trilogy are the two best games I have ever played in my entire life on PlayStation 2. Just for the simple fact of I had my best statistical season ever in Madden with Brian Urlacher from Madden 02. And Mortal Kombat Trilogy, like every day, I think of all the times I played with my brother and my uncle and my father, just being, and that's how I grew a love for Cabal because that was the first game he was introduced in. That game was just insane. And I haven't played a video game system frequently as much as I played PlayStation 2, but those two games, just so many hours. To this day, I have not really looked at Katana's Kiss of Death from that Mortal Kombat trilogy because it scared the crap out of me when I was younger. And that is so how amazing that game meant to me as a kid.
Yeah. And by the way, Mortal Kombat 1, September 19th.
Man, let me tell you,
I cannot
wait till that game comes out. Mortal Kombat's marketing team has been insane. From the Umgadi, from Garrus and Liu Kang to now Reptile, bringing Astra, Havoc, Serena.
Reptile about the beast out in that game, bro.
I am so ready for this game.
I was a Jax guy.
Wait till this game comes out.
I was a Jax guy. I always thought Jax looked like Stevie Ray.
You know what? If you like Carl Weathers, you like Jax.
Yeah. No.
You like Jax.
Jax was that boy, bro. Jax is when he's fatality when he stepped on you and stuff.
If you was a fan of Carl Weathers as an actor, I promise you like Jax.
Here's the thing about this. This was during that time. How in the world did Mortal Kombat miss on the idea of Stevie Ray? He looks like him. He looks like him. Just put a man's glove on him.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I want to double check on this, but I feel like Mortal Kombat made Jax after Mike Tyson.
They probably did, But we gotta get to Dom real quick, and then we gotta end the show. Dom, who'd you got your favorite PS2 game?
EA College Football 11, I want to say. It was before I knew. It was before I knew who RG3 was.
Who's on the cover?
Me and my. I want to say maybe like Tim Tebow.
Hold on.
I don't remember. I went and looked. It was RG3's going into his senior year, and like he was good his junior year. And me and my buddy would always play Dynasty, and we would take like a lesser team from a big conference. So we took Baylor, and all of a sudden we ran through the whole season undefeated or maybe one loss, and all the rosters had the right numbers. We're like, who is this guy? And I'm like, Robert Griffin III. Like,
It was
who's that?
13. It was 13.
Okay, 13.
Yeah, he was on the days when he was on the cover, right?
No, it was the year before that because it would have been
Oh.
his senior season.
Okay, the one before that was NCAA 12, and Mark Ingram was on the cover.
Okay, it was that one then.
Okay.
Could you imagine moving Tebow over to Mortal Kombat? His fatality is praying for you.
Man, he's definitely got the size for it, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's a friendship.
yeah, it'd be all friendships pretty much, or like brutalities at worst. But that's the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to The Gauntlet. Shout out Jacob Christner, of course. Thank you for coming on and sharing your commentary with us, brother. JJ, you know, always every week this is what we do. Dom, man, let's go get the drinks ready, man. I got some Jack Daniels in the corner. I know Jake gonna go drink a bottle of water, you know, and I'm already ahead of him. So yeah,
I'm good. Y'all have fun.
Shout out Bacon Grizzly, Tyler Ingram. We got the Gauntlet 2023 fantasy football coming up. Shout out JT, JB Ellis, John Shearer. I'm gonna whoop you this year in fantasy football. I'm calling the season sweep. Jake Malik. Enjoy your ring, last year's ring, because there'll be a new wearer this year. Everybody else. Also, Top Rope Talk Mondays. Shout out to our producer, Tariq. Excellent job in the background, as usual, for the pundit, the hype chain conductor, and the Ravens aficionado. I am Denzel the Sniper. We will see you in 7, baby, baby. Bam.